Yo, what is going on, all you GBA fans? It's your boy A on Tour 20, bringing you guys week 5 of the weekly transactions. I have a few trades coming up this week, so let's get right into it. First up, we got Tup, coach of the Pittsburgh Pirates Hatters, and he's trading with Dan, coach of the St. Louis Rampardos. Trade's going to be Staraptor and Steelix for Scizor Minior. Now, Tup wanted this trade mainly because Scizor, he feels like, is a decent physical offensive mon, but at the same time, he needs a better switch-in for electric-type hits in Steelix, because Nidoking wasn't doing the job. Figures he's 0-5, he needs to fix something on his team, and Steelix also helps with the bug problem, which hurts his Regenerator Core and Hydreigon decently. Steelix also gives him a great Rock Setter, and he's, as I said, takes pressure off of Nidoking in a lot of roles, such as being a ground type and setting up rocks, which Nidoking can do, but it really shouldn't be doing in most cases because of how especially offensive it is and how it's not really that bulky. So another thing is also that he gets another base 100 speed mon in the form of Staraptor, who is a great Scarfer and also a great Banded Pokemon. And if he wants to run Staraptor bulky, he can even run a bulky Intimidator set, which gives him the option to run Defog on it as well. So it's personally a great pick in my opinion for Tup. I think he's going to do great with this pickup. Now, the reason that Dan accepted this trade was because he feels like that even though Steelix was a good mon and he really wanted to use Staraptor, he feels that Scizor was really needed for priority and also for physical offense. Gives him a much better Steel type, and even though it's a 4x Fire Weak mon, it really helps him defensively actually, because of the fact that he has Gliscor, who's a 4x Ice Weak mon. This is going to really determine what hidden powers his opponents are going to have to run. So he can play some mind games with that, maybe try and bring Gliscor in on some hidden powers and predict it right. Assuming he knows that it's going to be hidden power Fire or hidden power Ice, he can bring in the corresponding mon, and even just take the hits, both of them with his mons such as Hoxpex. So I think this trade is going to work out really well for Dan. And Minior, I didn't get to Minior, but you're going to see why in a second, because Dan is actually also dropping Minior for Exploud. If Minior had a neck right now, it would be getting tossed on it because it's just getting dropped left and right. But I'm glad that Dan dropped Minior for Exploud. As much as I love Minior, I feel like that Dan really does need special offense because he only has Victini, Clefable, and Electros as viable special attackers. And Victini has a great physical move pool, so you don't always want to be logging that as a especially offensive mon. Clefable is more so of a defensive mon, though it can be offensive. I've seen it run several times and it works with great success. But most cases people want to run it defensively. And Electros is just Electros. You're not going to bring that to every match. So Dan having Exploud is going to be huge for his team. Gives him a great especially offensive mon with things such as Boom Burst and Scrappy, so he doesn't have to worry about Ghost type switching in on it. He also has Focus Blast and Flamethrower to handle Steel type Pokemon. He has ways of dealing with the problems that wall out Exploud in forms of coverage moves. In my opinion, Exploud was a phenomenal pickup for Dan, and I'm so glad that he got a reliable Steel type in the form of Scizor as well through his trade with Tup. Now, finally, we have El Scizor, aka Lars, coach of the Borussia Donphan, and he is dropping Decidueye for Chestnut. Now, one of the reasons that Lars picked this up is because he feels like it's a much better switch into ground type hits, because one, it's more physically offensive, and most ground type moves besides Earth Power, they're all physically offensive moves such as Earthquake, 1,000 Arrows, 1,000 Waves even, if, for example, a Zygarde wanted to trap him. Speaking of Zygarde, he does have to fight Mono, who has 1,000 Arrows and 1,000 Waves on his Zygarde, so it's going to hurt his team, especially with 1,000 Arrows hitting mons such as Rotom Heat and Latias, who would otherwise be immune to it. And he also has Nihilego, Lucario, and Magearna, who are all weak to ground hits. And those are some of his prime mons that he mentions. And Decidueye, even though it resists, is just not bulky physically enough to have to be able to take those hits. And Donphan is really his only other option, he feels. So adding Chestnut take some of the pressure off of Donphan from having to rely on tanking moves such as Earthquake and 1,000 Arrows. Losing hazard removal isn't that bad because he still has Donphan and Latias to clear hazards, both with Rapid Spin and Defog respectively, so he feels that he's still going to be set in that department. Chestnut also gives him a Spikes user, which is going to be really nice on his team because it gives him some more hazards in the form of not just having Stealth Rocks. And he also has Toxic Spikes with Nihilego. That's going to be great. And he says even though he's usually not a fan of 4x weak mons on his defensive cores, or defensive mons in general, he has a lot of mons that could take Aerial Aces and Power Flying, such as Nihilego, Magearna, and Rotom Heat. So he feels that Chestnut is going to be a great addition to his team. I think it's going to do great. Also, it replaces the physical aspect, at least of Decidueye, in the form of Chestnut, because it has such great physical offensive moves such as Wood Hammer, Stone Edge, Drain Punch, Superpower. So I think that it's going to work out really well for Lars, and I can't wait to see how it does on the Borussia Donphan. But that is it for this week's transactions. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below. Comment what trades you're still hoping get made before the season cutoff, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out, all you GBA fans.